Hey, Channel Fan, yo pal, Big D and Cobb back here for another movie review. This time it's not just one movie, it's two. So after our success of Jaws 3 and then Jaws 4, we decided to go ahead and do Jaws 1 and...
Jaws 2.
Jaws 1 and 4, yeah, we watched 2 and 3 first, and then we're now watching 1 and 4.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of out of order, but that's how we do it around here. So let's talk about the first movie, Jaws, first. The movie that started it all. Without this movie, we don't have 2, 3, and 4. Came out in 1975. I was about 4 years old. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw. Directed by Steven Spielberg, the great Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
It literally is one of my top 3 movies of all time. I have loved this movie since I first saw it, and I can never, ever get enough of it. I actually did a review of all these movies quite a few years ago, about 2 years ago, where I talked about all these and what they meant to me and stuff like that. So they're just great movies. I love watching them. Every time I get to sit and watch it, I would get into it, and then it just seemed to end so fast every time. This movie was the first ever quote-unquote summer blockbuster.
Yes.
So before this, there wasn't really a summer blockbuster until this movie came along, and this movie came out. It was massively huge. Let's see. They did change. Now, this is based on a book. The original was by Peter Benchley.
Yeah.
They did change quite a bit of it, though. There was a lot more subplots that they didn't develop in the movie, and they had to change some things. I think partially because of the way Jaws was. Jaws was extremely hard, difficult to film. And there's a great documentary on the DVD called, I think it's called "The Shark Is Working" or something like that. It's a really good, like, hour and a half, 2 hour documentary on the making of it. And it's just what they had to go through to make this movie was. I'm surprised that this date even got made. It was so difficult to make this movie. The shark never worked. Literally never worked. It was always conking out, or wouldn't work right together, or whatever would happen with the shark. So it's part of the reason why they don't have as much of the shark in the movie. They just couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
So, which ended up making the movie that much better, because I think it makes it much more suspenseful. You don't see the shark until like literally towards the middle of the third act. So, you know, it makes things interesting. I think there's so many scenes in the movie that I enjoy a lot. I love everything Robert Shaw's in. Every scene he's in, he just kind of, for me, he steals the show. It's a well-balanced movie. It's got a lot of really good effects. The shark looks really well done for a movie done in 75. You know, I've seen movies since then, and they use CG sharks, or they've used, there's a movie called, it's another shark movie that they did right after. I have it too. I can't think of the name title of it. They did, it's really, really cheesy. Like, the shark looks like almost like a cardboard shark coming out of the water, you know. So it's absolutely amazing what they did with the movie, and there's so many good things about it. It's so well acted. The score is probably one of the most notable scores ever in movie history. What did you like about it?
I liked about I think my favorite scenes are the third act. I have a friend's dad who would just not watch the whole movie, just skip to the third act.
Yeah, that's because when it gets really intense, they're out on the boat. They're out trying to get the old shark in the water, and they got to struggle to do what they got to do. But yeah, I mean, I really do. I mean, to me, there's not really any bad scenes in the movie. I kind of find it ironic that, you know, some of you can almost take parallel what we're doing now to that movie, with the mayor not wanting to let everybody go to the beach, you know, and not worried about anything else, because we need those summer dollars, you know. And it's funny how it kind of mirrors today's stuff, you know. But what else you got?
I like how every time they shoot the barrel on the shark, they think they're gonna bring it up and stuff, but then it always takes it back down.
Yeah. It's funny because remember we mentioned that in the second movie where he's
had the barrel.
He has the barrel using it as a planter, you know. I think that's kind of funny, you know. It's his way to tip his hat to, hey, we went through this stuff. So I think with all of that being said, what do you not like? Is there anything about the movie you don't like?
I mean, not really.
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard to think about it. Like, try to think about a part of the movie you just don't really like, and it's really, really hard because it just works so well. It's like it has
like the shark cage scene was a little cheesy.
Yeah, you look at today's standards, it's a little cheesy. You know, I know that at one point they put a little stuffed person about yay big in a small little cage and lowered it in to make it look like it was Richard Dreyfuss going in the water, but it wasn't. That they used that for the live shark footage scenes because they actually interspliced live shark footage with the film stuff. Yeah, the robot shark, Bruce. I had actually told him something today. I don't think he knew that the scene when they find the guy's head in the boat was actually filmed in a pool. It couldn't get it controlled right in the ocean, so they went ahead and filmed it in a pool. I think it's really funny. It was something they did at the last minute too, but I think it's really funny because they did a really good job. You can't tell it's in a pool, but it is. So, but I'm like you. I mean, it's PG, which I don't know by today's standards if it would still be rated PG, but I think it definitely is the best movie in the series. Yeah. But it doesn't really have many flaws. I mean, there's a reason why it ranks so high up there. A lot of people's lists as being one of their favorite movies. It's kind of like that perfect horror suspense movie. So, anything else you want to say about Jaws?
There's one more thing I wanted to say. I like the death scene. I know Mythbusters cracked it. It didn't work, but I like the death scene, and he was telling me that when the shark goes underwater, you hear like the big ooh, going down. That's like Spielberg's first movie.
Yeah, it's a sound from his first movie, Duel. It was the sound that the truck made when it was going over the cliff at the end of the movie. So he has a tendency to do that. He'll throw little things here and there in his movies to kind of throw back to another movie he did. So I always think that's really cool. There's in fact in Gremlins, there's a scene with E.T. when Stripe is hiding within all the stuffed animals, and one of next to him is the little E.T. I mean, even though he didn't direct that movie, he directed that movie. So I mean, he always throws in stuff to kind of call back to his other movies. So I think that's really cool. And it's always every time I go see a Spielberg movie. I mean, you see it in Ready Player One. I mean, my gosh, there's so many throwbacks to Spielberg stuff from the DeLorean through So it's just neat to kind of see that stuff that he puts in there. So, all right, that is it for Jaws then.
Yep.
All right, we're moving on to Jaws 4, the last movie in the series.
One of my mom's favorite.
It's funny because they've always talked about doing another Jaws movie. They've never gone off the ground. This movie came out, and I know how much Jacob likes the movie, and I do like the movie, not as much as some of the other ones, but it was a big flop in theaters. A lot of fans really didn't like it, so they never did anything after that. There's always been talk of a redo, but honestly, I think they should just leave it. I think they do any more with it. I don't want them to see them remake it because it'll all be CG. If they remade Jaws, it would be all CG. They wouldn't do a real shark. They wouldn't do an actual replica shark like that. They'd do it all CG, and I think it would just ruin the coolness of it. But Jaws 4 came out in 1987, which is about how many years is that after? 75. So you're looking about 12 years after the first Jaws. Lauren Gray comes back after the first two movies. She wasn't in the third. We have Lance Guest, who was in The Last Starfighter, Mario Van Peebles, and Michael Caine. Interesting side note about this movie is that Michael Caine only did this movie for one reason. He was buying a home and needed the money to buy a home. So it's his paycheck movie, as he calls it. This movie, to me, has some ups and has some downs. I think for me, there's parts of it I like. I'm glad that they kept with the Brody family, although they weren't consistent with it, and that was a problem I had with it. The third movie, you see the older Brody brother. He's like an engineer, an underwater engineer. Yeah. He's building these places, and his wife is like the head of the aquatics there at that place. You go to the next movie, and all of a sudden, his wife is like a sculptor, and he's like a marine biologist. All of a sudden, it's like, well, wait a minute, what happened in the couple years since the third movie? They weren't consistent on that. They kind of mixed that up a little bit. It would have been really cool if they got the actress from the third movie to come back for the fourth movie. That would have been neat. Yeah. Bess Armstrong, that would have been neat to have. But that was my biggest issue with it. There wasn't consistency with it. They did do what I did like about the movies. They did a lot of callbacks.
Yeah.
So a lot of little things. They showed scenes from the first Jaws and even the second Jaws, and and I really do enjoy that.
In the first start of the movie, they kill Sean off right away. You only get to hear a couple lines from him, and you just kill him off. I was watching that with my mom, and she was really upset about that because she just watched like all the movies, so. Then just to see him die is kind of sad.
Yeah, it was really quick to kill him off. In the first 5 minutes of the movie, they kill him off, and you're kind of like, wait a minute. I thought these movies were all about the Brody family, and now you just... Not only did you mention that Chief Brody's dead, but now they killed off the son within the first 5 minutes of the movie, so it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, where are you going? So that... I agree with you. That bummed me out a little bit. I would like to see that character live a little... Maybe got his arm bit off, and they take him to he goes back with his brother to go hang out in
Yeah.
the islands for a while to kind of recuperate or something like that. But to kill him off right away was kind of a bummer. I agree. Originally, this movie was supposed to have a voodoo element to it. That a voodoo priest, like, they did some sort of, it's actually in the book of the movie, like a voodoo priest did some sort of, like, I don't know, spell or something like that, and created the shark to go after the Brody family. It's actually something they introduced in the first book by Peter Benchley. There was this voodoo element to it. They dropped that because it seemed a little far-fetched, but they were going to bring it back for the fourth movie, and then they dropped that as well.
He did mention, Michael Brody did mention that voodoo.
Yeah, because there was a line in there they didn't cut out, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was originally supposed to be a voodoo element in the movie. Let's see here. Interesting sharks in warm water. You don't necessarily typically find a great white,
no.
But that would have gone back probably to the whole voodoo element. If the shark's been cursed to go after these people, then that would make sense. He would go out there regardless of anything else.
Why can't they go in warm water?
I just don't think they like warm water. They're fish. They're cold, blooded, I think, or something. I just don't think they like really warm water. I mean, I'm sure they'd swim in it, but I think they prefer colder water.
Yeah.
That's why they're always at the coast on Santa Cruz all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Footage. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell this story now. Jacob's never heard this story before. So when they were filming Jaws 4, I was actually there. They were filming it on the Universal Studios lot. They had taken out, this is years and years ago, but there still is too. I saw it the last time I was there a few years ago. There's this huge tank out by where they have the good, the Great Outdoors house. Back behind there a little ways, there's this huge monster tank out there, this big, huge tank. And what they did is they filled it up with water, and they built this big, huge backdrop, and they painted it blue and white for sky and colors. And that's where they filmed all the last scenes with the ship in the water.
Mm-hmm, that's what my dad was telling me.
Yeah, and so we were there. We were on a tram tour, and what they had was they had part of the ship in the water. They had the crew out there, people in the water sitting around. They had people with cameras like that. The shark all set up, ready to go. And we're in the trolley, and they slow the trolley down. We got to watch part of them filming part of the scene and out in the water. It was really neat to see that. I think that's why Jaws 4 for me holds a special place in my heart, because I actually got to see part of it made. It may all have been there for 10 minutes, but it was really neat to see them out there in the boats and the big old cameras and people hanging out the side of the boat. And the shark sitting there ready to go, and some guy was working on it and stuff. And it was really neat to see. So that's why this movie always holds a special place in my heart, because I actually got to see part of it filmed. So. Which is really neat. I mean, that movie has its ups and downs. Some of the shark scenes in the movie, underwater scenes, are really well done. Some of them are pretty cheesy. I know that you like the death scene, right?
Yeah, when the flashing the shark.
I always had a problem with the death scene, just because I understand he's getting shocked and he's jumping up, but then when he makes that roar when it hits him, it's like, okay. And then why does he explode? That's the one thing I understand. If the boat had just stabbed him and killed him, I mean, he says, but then he explodes.
Yeah.
It's like there's no explosives around, so I don't understand why he exploded. And that's one of the things that's always kind of like, but my understanding is they actually went back and refilmed that, because originally he was stuck, and the producers felt that it wasn't dramatic enough death, so they wanted to be more grandiose, and then they put the explosion in. But it's kind of funny, because then he would have been stabbed, and then the boat would have sunk with him on it, and it was going down. But so they did add that in, and they also made some other changes too. When the movie was originally theatrically released, Mario Van Peebles died at the end. They killed him off at the end. When I saw it in theaters, he died. When I saw it on video, when it came on VHS, at the end of the movie, Mario Van Peebles lives, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So. I don't know whether in between the transition from when it left theaters to the time it came on home video, they thought, let's just put this scene in or what. But it was always weird to me how when I saw it in theaters, the guy died. But because I bought the movie, when I bought the movie, put it on my VCR, he lived. And I remember thinking, did I get a wrong copy of this movie or something? This is not how I saw it. But then I had read later on that they had just added that scene back in. So that was kind of weird. It was really kind of weird, kind of that, I mean. Nowadays when they release a movie, it'll say director's cut on there. It'll say uncut or, some sort of cut on there. This just said Jaws 4. It didn't say anything about we added scenes into it. So it's kind of like, is it bootleg? I don't know. Anything else you want to say about Jaws 4?
The shark only kills 2 people in the movie.
Yeah, this is probably at the lowest kill count of all the movies.
Jaws has probably the highest.
Yeah, I think Jaws has the highest one. Then it would probably go with probably 2. Actually, 2 may have more kills.
Well, okay, let's count the 2 divers.
Yeah, 2 at the beginning.
The 2 people on the boat.
2 people in the the 2 people in the jet ski or the boat, and then that girl's friend, the girl's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Got eaten.
Yeah.
And then was there anybody else after that? The helicopter.
Sean's the girl and Sean.
Oh yeah, girl and Sean. But there's 7. I think there's more deaths in part 2. I think it goes 2, 1, 3, and then 4.
Yeah.
I think it's like the death count goes. Ooh, there was a lot. And that happens with sequels. You'll notice as you grow up more and you see more and more sequels, especially in horror movies, that always happens. They up the death count in the second movie because they want to make it more beyond what the first movie was. So it really is. I've never really sat down and counted it. When we started counting it, sure enough, there is more. I do believe there's more deaths in part 2.
Yeah.
For sure.
Probably.
Yeah, that's funny. Although in part 3, you count both sharks to 2 deaths. There was 2 sharks.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else?
Yeah, I have like 2 more things.
Go for it.
Every scene, probably one of every scene has the shark in it.
Yeah, there is a lot more of the shark in this movie than any of the. Probably more than all 3 movies combined. The first 3 movies combined, he is in the movie a lot. You see him everywhere.
But it's not a problem with me.
No, I have a problem with it too. And actually, that's the scene in the movie when Brody is down. He's trying to run away when they first see the shark in the Bahamas, and he goes down into that old sunken ship.
Yeah.
And the jaws are going on. That's actually some good scenes in there. Him swimming through and stuff like that. There's a few of those scenes, like when he comes barreling through the wall right there.
And the ladders.
That was actually some good stuff. So there is some good moments in that movie. Even the underwater footage is really well. There's some cheesy moments. Like he's kind of swimming along. I think that scene when Brody's in this little sub thing. Or no, it's Mario Van Peebles in the little sub thing. And Jaws comes by, that looked a little cheesy because his mouth was open for some reason. Like, okay,
well, and then he didn't attack him.
Yeah.
He went for Michael.
He went for Michael. So it was like, okay, the guy's sitting right there. Might as well have a lunch, you know?
Right.
What did you got?
But he goes for the guy on the boat.
Yeah, right. Well.
One of my favorite characters is Jake.
Yeah, Jake is funny.
Yeah.
I do like Jake, and his stuff doesn't crap out.
No.
Nope.
Uncle Jake doesn't
That's right. Uncle Jake, man. I've always liked Mario Van Peebles. I think he's a really good actor. He was in the movie Solo. He was in that one with Rutger Hauer. I can't remember it now. Surviving the Game. That's another. Was it? That was him. Yeah, that's Surviving the Game. But I've always really liked Mario Van Peebles. He's a really good actor. He's done a couple cool things over the years. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. He can make a movie a lot of fun. So. And again, I've always been a big fan of Lance Guest. I mean, not only was he in The Last Starfighter, he was in Halloween 2. So I've always kind of followed his career. So definitely some good stuff. So
that's it.
All right. Other than that is Big D and Cobb's review of Jaws and Jaws 4. So thank you guys all for watching. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos by me and Big D and Cobb. Click the like button if you like the video. Leave us some comments what your thoughts are on Jaws 1 and 4. We both want to thank you so much for watching this video. We really, truly appreciate it. We all hope you guys take care out there and please be safe. Keep hunting because you never know what you're going to find. And as always, live long and prosper. Bye.